Hi everybody, welcome to Dada's Lounge. My name is Kirubo and today we're joined by Angela.
Hi everyone, my name is Angie. I went to college with Kerubo and I'm very excited to be part of Dada's Lounge today.
So I'm really honored to have Angie today because she's the first guest on a series that we'll be calling Dear Younger Me. In this series we'll be using to talk about things that we went through that we could have had a different experience if we had more information. So this is for younger girls who can use it as tips to be able to navigate better than we did.
So today's session is mainly geared towards students who've applied to the US and are planning to come to the US for college, and some of the advice or challenges that we faced and would have probably navigated a little bit better if we had this information at hand. Hindsight is always 2020.
So to begin, it's really hot in the US. I know that sounds weird, but when you get in July or August, it's extremely hot because it's the summer. So it's in like the 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like 40 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to try get light clothing the first time you come to the US. So maybe on the plane, yes, have a little shawl you can cover yourself with, but go to a thrift store, go to a mitumba store and try to get as many light clothing as you can.
Yeah. So the advantage of that is your luggage will not only be light, but you'll not be struggling when it's summer weather and all the humidity. But on the flip side, it gets really, really cold very quickly. So when it comes to October, November, the weather suddenly changes and it's winter, and it's really nothing compared to the cold that we experience back home, especially if you're coming in from areas within the equator region where it's always sunny.
Yeah.
So personally, I would say no amount of clothing you can buy in Kenya will prepare you for the amount of cold weather that will be here. So it would be best for you to try and save once you start school. Try and save for the winter, so when the winter season hits, you have enough money to get yourself winter gear or winter jacket, and very nice winter boots.
That's true.
Yeah.
So the other thing is that you should prepare yourself to miss home and home food. So don't be afraid to carry your sadza, your ugali flour, your pop flour, whatever you call it. Carry it with you, put it in your luggage. They won't take away your flour and spices, so bring those. Whatever reminds you of home. Whenever you're sick, food is like the closest thing that you have to home. So make sure you carry that.
Yeah, and speaking of missing home, something else that's very important is photos, or anything that you actually find has sentimental value to you is something that I think would also be very important to carry. If you're a person who loves photos like me, hang them up on your wall, in your dorm room, anything that will help you to remind you of home. If you have like a certain maybe piece of jewelry that you feel you can bring with you, it really helps to ground you and at the same time remind you of where you're coming from, so that you don't lose yourself here in the US.
Yeah. Another thing I personally went through, and I'm sure Angie went through in some form, is the people relations in the US are slightly different from what they were in our country of origin, Kenya.
Yeah.
So I was super excited for the American dream, but I feel like people are a little bit more reserved here. People are not as excited about everything, I think. I mean, this is a generalization. I'm sure that lots of other people are excited about everything, but I did feel that relationships were like task based. So you'd be in class, work together for a whole semester, but then after that you were not really friends. You were just classmates, and after that you're like, peace out.
It can be very different, because also the kind of relations that you created at home, you'd probably be at a deeper level compared to here, because you're trying to navigate a different culture, a different language altogether. So sometimes it might take a little while for you to really solidify your friendships, and that is okay. It's just okay for you to take your time and navigate that, for you to know who really has you at heart and who's really there for you to just finish a class together and then move on. You will become black
if you're from a country, right?
Yeah, if you're coming in from Africa, you definitely will become black, and I think it's very important for you to embrace that as part of your identity. The reason I say this is because when we are back home and everyone is black, we are all the same race, it's really not called out, or it's really not something that you think of when you're thinking about your identity or a piece of who you are. I never thought of myself, as something that's a factor that I would use to describe myself on a day-to-day basis. But when you get here, it becomes a bigger part of your reality and a bigger part of who you are. And so, you need to learn to also embrace that. And it comes with some challenges, but it also comes with a lot of privilege. So take it, embrace it, and run with it.
Yeah, it's also called you become Afrocentric. So for instance, I started using my name Kirubo. I dropped my first name. You just love home a lot more passionately just because you don't have it anymore. The other thing I'd recommend is get your driver's license abroad. So it's very difficult to get your driver's license here just because the tests are crazy, the driving tests themselves are crazy. So if you come with your own driver's license from your country, which may be easier to get back home, it'll be easier for you to transition it to the US because all you have to do is a written test as opposed to doing the driving test, which I failed 3 times. But
and I haven't done yet, so
get it.
The other thing that I would say is that you will go to places that you've never been. You'll meet people that you haven't met before, and this is the time for you to actually embrace that change and take it and be open-minded to learn as much as you can from it. Coming to schools in the US, what I realized, you have a lot of opportunities that suddenly open up. Campuses have a lot of, places where they actually support students. You'd have a lot of funding in place that you can apply to. Take advantage of that. Do your research as much as you can. Travel the world as much as you can. Because when you finish college and you get into the world of working, then you don't have the time to do all this. So really leverage that opportunity. Yeah. So
as much as you will thrive in travel and you should go for it, study abroad, it doesn't matter that you're an international student. Go. You may never be able to go to France again, so do it. Hopefully you will.
Yeah.
But the other thing to be aware is because it's a different environment, sometimes it can break you, So one of the things you should be aware of is that it's okay to feel homesick, it's okay to feel lost, it's okay to not really know what to do. And what you should probably do is reach out to some of your older classmates. If you have older classmates who are international students or luckily from the same country as you, talk to them and see how they manage and cope. And even the students in your class, some of them are from different parts of the US that are miles and miles away from where you go to school, so they also feel the same. So just opening up about what you feel can help you be able to cope with the situation a lot better.
I agree, and I think something that's also important is to know that it's okay to not be okay. And the reason why I say this is I feel like if you're coming from an African background or a Kenyan background, I would say per se, because I can't speak for all of Africa, in most cases we really don't speak about mental wellness or just being mentally healthy. We don't speak about those things in an open space. Things like depression or suicide, anxiety are not really spoken about. And that's something that you might end up facing coming to a place where all the support system and buffer that you initially had is suddenly lost. So you need to just know that it's okay to not be okay. Keep in touch with your family back home, and also leverage the kind of friends that you'll make here, because you quickly come to realize that the friends that you end up making here become family. So embrace that and use that as a platform to really help you thrive and be okay mentally.
Well, that is a good segue to go into our next topic, which is mental health awareness. So do subscribe so we can keep having this awesome conversation.
Thank you. Don't forget to have fun.
Woohoo!